Welcome back, Fiber Friends, to yet another episode of the Wolf Gold Podcast. As you can see, I bought this tiny microphone. We're gonna see how it works for this episode. I'm not really sure about it. I bought some new equipment recently, and I've been testing it out, and some of it I like, some of it I don't. So we're gonna see. But yeah, welcome back. As the title suggests, this episode is going to be a little bit different. So first things first, if you've been following along, I have this Tom of Finland crochet project that I've been working on forever. I made some progress before we got here, so there's some new stuff for you guys to see. I feel like it's really coming together now. You can kind of really see the image that I'm trying to put together. But what we are also going to do while trying to finish this is watch some movies. I'm not usually someone who watches a ton of movies. However, this time of year, I do like to watch what I would just generally call like freaky movies. Okay, I wouldn't necessarily call them all like horror movies per se. I wouldn't even necessarily categorize myself as a horror fan, but I love freaks. I love freaky stuff. That's just kind of my vibe. It's always been my vibe. And I want to watch some freaky movies. And one of my favorite movie influencers on TikTok is Boring Blue Boy. I think their Instagram handle is Blue Ghosts, or Blue Ghost or something like that. They have superb taste in movies, period. I absolutely love their vibes in general, but they have just really good taste in horror movies. I always love hearing their like takes and synopses on different types of movies, and they always put out not only like a Halloween watch list, which isn't out yet, but a September watch list to kind of like open up the senses to the spooky season. And so I'm going to be pulling some movies off of that list, as well as a list of my own of just like freaky movies I've been wanting to watch. And we are going to watch them and crochet, and I'm going to yap to you guys about what I think about the movies. So full disclosure, first things first, it's like almost noon already. I do have to run some errands today, so like there is going to be a little chunk of time where I have to go out and do some stuff because I have to be responsible and a real human being. It is my weekend. I have some stuff to get done, but I'm not gonna go out. I'm not gonna go like out to a bar or anything like that this weekend. I'm gonna stay in. I'm going to jog and crochet and take care of myself and watch some spooky movies. It's gonna be great. I need a little recovery weekend anyway. And so yeah, I'm gonna take you guys along for the journey, but I have been crocheting essentially all morning. I woke up at like 7 a.m. this morning and could not go back to bed, which is unlike me. I usually wake up at least like 8 o'clock. Usually 8:30 to 9 o'clock is when I wake up. But I was up and at 'em this morning, so I decided like why not find a movie to watch and get some crochet out of the way. So what movie did I watch? I'm still watching it. I have like 20 minutes left. But I have absolutely loved it. I watched May. It came out in 2002. I It's really good. It's really good. Someone online called it the ultimate femcel horror movie, and that alone was enough. Like that alone intrigued me. But I just really love the general vibes of the movie. I love the build. I love horror movies that are not like traditional slashers. I find slashers to just be very like okay. I respect practical effects, don't get me wrong. I think practical effects are very cool. While I do totally think that there is like a place for slasher films, I'm not saying I don't respect them as like a, a genre of horror. It's just not my personal taste, right? It's all about personal taste. Horror and like freaky movies in general just span a really like wide variety of topics and ways of presentation. And so I'm sure there are some movies that I am going to watch that you guys might not like, and there are going to be some movies that I watch that I don't like that you guys are going to be like, those are my favorite. And that's what the comment section is for. All right. So settle in, grab your own project. Let's get some more crochet done before I run out and do errands today and finish watching May. And before we get started, I am going to show you guys where we are on the tapestry, just so you can see where we're starting from. And because I took out my lint roller and rolled the whole thing specifically so I could show it to you guys. So I need to show it to you guys before I work on it because inevitably it will get a little bit of bow hair on it, and I don't know if I'm going to lint roll it every single time I flash you guys a progress check-in. But as you can see, we have an ear. We have an ear, ladies and gentlemen, right? Like we're finally through this dang hat. The hat just took forever, and it was because this whole section here, just a lot of color changing and like very complicated. From this point on, the color work is fairly a little bit more straightforward and simple. And then as I get to the lower third of like the last third of the project, it gets really, really easy because there's a lot less color changing. So I am like kind of re-motivated because the hat was just the hardest part. It took forever. Every row took like, I can't remember if it was like 15 minutes or like half an hour. It took a while because it was just like every like 3 or 4 stitches I had to like color change and like not consistently at all. It was, there's no set pattern for something like this. I just kind of like, I put the image into Stitch Fiddle and then I adjusted, the resolution of the image that I wanted and how many colors I was willing to use for the project. I love Stitch Fiddle. I think it's very much worth the. I think it's like a $30 yearly subscription, if I'm not mistaken. It might be even less than that. But it was very reasonable considering like all the different things you can do on Stitch Fiddle. I don't know. I find it to be helpful. Okay, so we are checking in. It's 7 o'clock. The sun is going down, so the lighting might get a little funky for the later check-in, just FYI. Because I bought a new ring light, but it makes this annoying ringing noise some of the time. Some of the time. And so it's hard for me to know, I don't know when it's gonna do it. But I wanted to check in. I didn't get as much done as I would have liked, TBH. Just because I tried to get outside today with the furry boy. And I did have to run a few errands. I did go grocery shopping, which is good, and I had a substantial lunch and some snacks. All of which are things that I sometimes forget to do. So, kudos to me for that at least. But I did not get all the errands I was supposed to get done, and I don't know. I wish that I had gotten a few more rows farther than we did, but like, I don't know. I didn't make no progress, and I finished the movie May. It was fantastic. It was very, very good. As someone who used to be a very lonely, sad, scary girl, highly highly identified with this movie. Very glad I did not see it pre-transition. I do not know what that would have done to my teenage brain. But as an adult, as a happy, well-adjusted adult, great film. I think it was really interesting, especially in this day and age where like with like men perpetrating violence the way that they do, and the fact that like I don't know that like narrative that's often played off, especially with violent men, of like, oh, like he was bullied, he just like wasn't very good at socializing, yada yada yada, like that's why he committed the violence that he did. Like it's always interesting to see like a lonely scary woman portrayed, and in such a like complex and interesting way. I really enjoyed the film. I don't know, I'd give it like an 8.5 out of 10. It wasn't like the best film ever that I've ever seen, but like it was very, very good. Next up, we're gonna watch Videodrome. Um, I have never seen it before. I kind of vaguely understand the context, and that context is that it's about being seduced by your TV. I am intrigued. I am interested. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of just jump in. I'm gonna find somewhere to watch it. I don't know where, but I'm gonna find somewhere, and yeah, I'm gonna try to get some more rows in. And at some point, I'm probably gonna go for a jog, and maybe I'll bring you guys with me. But yeah, I'm gonna show you guys the tapestry. I'm experimenting with different places to clip the microphone, so forgive me for the audio kind of changing when I am specifically lifting up and showing you guys where we're in the tapestry. Okay, here we are. I really feel like, you know, you can tell this you can tell this is an image at this point. The ear is coming into fruition. Okay, before we really just had like itty bitty tip of an ear, but we're moving and trucking. It's just that it's pretty far across. It's pretty far across. It is, let me check to see exactly how many stitches it is across. Yeah, so after double checking, it is 120 stitches across, and it is 123 rows. And I have 65 rows left, but it's the easy 65 rows. I must iterate that this hat was just a nightmare, and I feel like it you can tell by, let's do a back check. You can tell which areas are like clearly the most difficult. These rows right here, this swath right here was smooth sailing, and honestly, these have been this area, despite looking as chaotic as up here, has been much easier because there are these like larger swaths of the lighter color. But yeah, it's coming together. It's coming together. Hello, hello, Fiber friends. So we are checking in the next morning, obviously, because the lighting is the way it is. Although it's pretty dreary out today between you and I. Here's the dealio. So I finished Videdrome. I really liked it. I really liked it. I think it is one of those films that, like, if anything, it's become almost more poignant in our modern day and age, which is something that you really can't always say for horror. There's a lot of horror that ages poorly, just like all other films. I think every genre has films in it that just like age poorly, that are too referential for the time to necessarily like carry in a modern context. You know what I mean? There are lots of films like that. I don't think Videodrome is one of those. I honestly like 9.5 out of 10. The only reason I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10 is because, like, for context, it's been a long time since I sat down and watched a movie or a film in general. I feel like it's one of those art forms that I go in and out of consuming in my life, and for a long time, I just kind of like put movies on a shelf and was like, I'm not gonna do that for now. I don't know why that was, but recently again, I've been kind of wanting to get back into it. Videodrome was so good. You know what I loved about it too is the horror of it all without the like all the blood and guts. I don't know. I'm just somebody who I cheap I don't want to call it cheap because too like practical effects are often not cheap. So I don't even want to say like cheap slasher. I think all that stuff like has a place. I'm just not a fan. It doesn't have the intended effect for me. It just kind of makes me like, I get nauseous, but I'm not scared. I just kind of want to throw up because it's like gross. So I really prefer like body horror like that. It was done very, very well. I would definitely watch it again, which is not something I often say about movies. I don't like to double back often and rewatch stuff that's just not usually my style, but I would definitely, definitely rewatch that. Next up that I have already started is Identikit. I started it last night. Um, Mostly because the premise I found fascinating. How it was pitched to me was, this is a woman who is going and looking for someone to murder her. Um, and I found it very interesting because I feel like, and again, I started watching it last night while I was very, very tired, so maybe I just like missed this part, but I feel like it hasn't been stated outright that she wants to be murdered. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I missed something. I think it's very interesting film. I every direction it takes itself in is surprising me. Kind of like May. May was that way too. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but like I kept thinking I was like I kept expecting that doll to be like, okay, the doll was important. The doll was integral, obviously, to the plot, but it wasn't in the way that I thought it was going to be, right? Like, you see a creepy doll and you're like, "Oh, that doll's gonna come to life and murder the shit out of someone." And it's like, kind of, but not really. Like, no, it doesn't happen. Nothing happens the way at least I expected it to. Um I don't know, I found it to be very good for that reason too. It kind of like threw me for a loop a little bit, or like I wasn't exactly expecting that ending, which was cool. But yeah, I don't know. Videodrome was great. I am watching Identikit and we're gonna keep crocheting. I'm gonna show you guys little little check-in of what we've been doing so far. I feel like you can tell that I was paying attention to Videodrome because I did not get. I always say I didn't get as far as I would hoped. I just wish I was a faster crocheter, and the fact of the matter is I'm not. And I should just be okay with that. But yeah, this is the bad boy. I mean, I made some progress. We're getting there. Last night I also ran like 4 miles, which is pretty good for me. I mean, like I haven't really been running or exercising a ton since I moved. But I love to run. Like genuinely, I really enjoy running. And it took a long time for me to get there with running. Like it wasn't. I did not always love running. For context, I hated it for years and years and years. In fact, but I wanted to be one of those people who could just like decide like I'm gonna go on a little jog and like run a mile and not be totally like wiped for the rest of the day. And it took some time, but now I can like run 4 miles, and the next day I wake up and I'm like, I'm not even really sore today, honestly. I expected to be sore, but I had a big salad when I got back. And when I say a big salad, I don't mean just like leafy greens. I mean like proteins and like a mix of different veggies and like seeds and nuts and croutons. Oh my god, obviously. Yeah. So feeling good, feeling great. I thought I had a doctor's appointment today, and it turns out I really thought I confirmed this doctor's appointment. I guess I didn't. So I got on the app and I made another one for 2 days from now, which is fine because 3 days from now I preemptively made a blood work appointment because I know they're probably going to request my blood work 'cause it's for my testosterone. And so yeah, I've got it all set up so that I can get all that shenanigan done. Yeah, so it's fine. I've got all of today to essentially crochet. I really need to go get an oil change too. I don't know if you need to go get an oil change, but if you do, go get your oil changed. Yeah, so I'm gonna get that done today. But besides that, we're gonna watch movies and we're gonna crochet. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna watch after Identikit. I was thinking maybe something like a little bit funnier and lighter since I've really been like heavy on the psychosexual thriller tone. And I was thinking maybe like one of the Chucky movies because I've never seen them, but I do like. Okay, when I was younger, there were these really groovy adults that lived down the street from me, like two parents. And they had kids in the neighborhood and stuff, but they had a Chucky doll in their house, and they used to throw like the craziest Halloween parties. And as a grown adult, I'm very like fond of my memories of them. I thought they were really cool people. I bet they still are really cool people. And I just like I for some reason I don't know, I just like associate like the Chucky doll and the Bride of Chucky doll, obviously. And they even might have had the kid. I think there's a kid doll too, like a child of the two of them. I might be wrong about that. Regardless, I don't know. I think I should watch the movies. I think it's time. And I feel like they're kind of like they're funny. They're funny-ish. They're meant to be campy and a little queer, and that's definitely my vibe. So maybe that's what we'll watch next after Identikit. I'm gonna report back. I'm like 50 minutes into Identikit, and I still don't really know exactly what's going on. There's like a lot of like there's some like interviews going back and forth. Like clearly something happens with this woman, and they're reporting about it in the future. But then all around her, there's also these like very violent acts of like terrorism question mark occurring. So yeah, I'll check in a bit. We'll see how I end up feeling about it. I think I'm gonna like it. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Okay, Viber friends. It's like a day later. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm sorry I did not do a late night check-in. But you know, life happens. Obviously, I did not finish the tapestry in my 2 days off. I went to work yesterday. I tried to get like a few rows in the morning, on top of my doctor's appointment, which went great. And I got my blood work done this morning, which is fantastic. And they're gonna fill my prescription probably sometime later today. So, you know, I'm trying not to be hard on myself because at least I got that done. I did end up watching some palate cleanser movies. So I watched Seed of Chucky and Bride of Chucky. Don't come for me for not watching the franchise in order. Honestly, like I watched Hellraiser in order. Love those movies. Have to say, probably gonna rewatch them sometime soon. Maybe not the first one. I feel like the second one I need to rewatch. I feel like when I watched the second one, I was like not paying enough attention and I missed all the good parts. So I'm gonna rewatch that. And then I started Cruising. 1980, Al Pacino. I've been really curious about the film. As a trans gay man, I have a really interesting relationship with cruising, and I can talk about that, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. Um, yeah, it's I really like the movie. Not gonna lie, I am like an hour into it, I think, about that. And there's I like the colors, I like the scenes. Obviously by the tapestry that I'm working on, I love the leather scene. I am perpetually fascinated by it. I don't know. I find it interesting and I like leather. Leather as a material choice, I just really enjoy. And so yeah, the movie's been an absolute delight, especially because the Leatherman that is featured in this tapestry, like I feel like there are a few guys in the film that like match the image perfectly. But speaking of the tapestry project, I want to show you guys the check-in. Um, oh, I guess I should probably say too, like my reflections, my feelings about the Chucky franchise. I think those movies are so fun. I did not realize how like fun, campy, and queer they were. Especially Seed of Chucky. Are you kidding me? Like trans allegory, oh my god, I love it. I love it. It was so fun. It was so fun. I wish there were more, I don't know, fun Halloween movies that fit in that category. I feel like there are. I am going to try to sprinkle in a few more I don't know, like palette cleanser movies amongst the more like serious movies. Because I think after I finish Cruising, I think I want to watch Crash. Which the premise for that one, and I feel like maybe I mentioned this already, but if I haven't, the premise for Crash is people who are sexually attracted to car crashes. I don't need personally personally I don't need more of a hook. I want to know more. So yeah, I think that might be next up on the list. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I'll check in. I might need a palette cleanser after Cruising, depending on how it ends, because I don't really know how it's going to end right now. Which I love. I am somebody who like I do have an issue. I not that I have an issue. I just don't like movies to be too predictable, which is why I think I tend towards the more like I've been accused of definitely like having a preference for like pretentious, I guess, films. But my or like artsy, pretentious artsy, whatever you want to call it, they're not predictable a lot of the times. I don't like it when I can watch a movie and I know exactly what's going to happen. I don't find that interesting. I know some people enjoy it, find it comforting, but it's one of the reasons you're not gonna catch me watching like most superhero movies. I'm sorry, don't come for me. Please don't come for me. It's just not my preference. Like whatever. Anyway, as promised, here's the tapestry, y'all. We're almost there. We're almost there. Yeah, we have a whole ear. We have an earring. Um, This next row, you're gonna be able to see like the nose is essentially done. She's looking fabulous. She's looking real good. She needs a lint roll. Please don't come for me. I know she needs a lint roll, but we're gonna get to that. Okay, I'm really just trying to crank this out because also, local to me, the leather weekend is coming up. Not like not like this weekend, but the following weekend, I think, maybe. By the time this video is posted, it's probably going to be this coming weekend. And even though no one is going to see it, I still would like this done before Leather Weekend. I don't know. I mostly probably so I can take a picture of it and show it off to the handsome men at Leather Weekend. I'll be honest. So yeah, we're gonna try to get this done, and I'm gonna take y'all along with me. Let's go finish Cruising. I love it. And you know what I really like about it is it captures the energy of cruising so well. Um, and there's so many really ambiguous scenes, and I actually don't understand people who are like, no, like Al Pacino is 100% straight in this movie. So many of these scenes heavily imply, oh my god, and then like he goes out and he goes like to these explicit, like uh bars that have a more explicit scene to them. Not all gay bars have like a dark room or like leather nights or anything like that. I need to mention that. I mean, a lot of them do, but not all of them do. um so he's definitely in the more like, it's the fetish subculture. And then he like goes home to his girlfriend and like, has relations with her in a way that just feels so frustrated to me, reads very frustrated to me. I've really enjoyed the film. It's been great. It's been a great trip. I also don't think I've ever seen any film with a young Al Pacino, mostly because I haven't seen a lot of films, so my context is limited, but I've enjoyed it so far. All right, I'm gonna go finish cruising. I'm gonna see how many more rows of this I can crank out, and I do need to pick up some fruit today because I'm out of fruit. But besides that, I don't really have much else to do. So let's get to crocheting. Let's get some stuff done. Okay, y'all. Mid-afternoon check-in. Um, I had some lunch. It hasn't been super eventful. I took Bobo outside. I did the usual. I finished cruising. It was really good. It was really good. Okay, I know a lot of people feel very critical about that movie. Some of those critiques might be totally valid. I also think that it's a really gay movie. It's a really gay movie. I really liked it. I thought it was really interesting. Yeah, I thought it was a good movie. I don't really have anything else to say about it because I feel like, I don't know, people are going to have their opinions about it. They're going to feel one way or the other, just like people did when it came out in 1980. And so I'll let people have those opinions. But I liked it. Right afterwards, I watched Tales from the Hood, which is so famous, so notorious. Frankly, I've been wanting to watch it for a really long time. Um, I've seen some clips from it, but whenever I see clips of it or edits, and whenever it's pitched to me, it's definitely pitched as more of like a comedy horror. And yes, I do think there are parts of it that have a comedic element to them. That being said, like especially the first story, at least for me, was very, very intense. So it's like an anthropology, is that what you call it? Where it's like a series of stories, a series of like four different horror stories. And it definitely touches on subjects of like racism and deals with things like that and like police brutality. And so that can be definitely really hard to watch and just like genuinely scary because like it happens every day. I think the scariest things are the things that are very real. And I think that a lot of the stories in Tales from the Hood reflect reality. And that's what makes it so scary. So I don't know. I really liked it though. It was definitely a really good watch, but I definitely didn't like. I kind of watched it expecting it to be like a little bit of a palate cleanser. And I wouldn't necessarily call it a palate cleanser because it was scary in a very real life way. Again, especially that first story. But I wanted to show you guys where we are in the tapestry because, baby, we've made some progress. All right, so I wanted to give you guys a different purview on it, a different angle. Look at that. So it's definitely going to need a backing so that it doesn't stretch because it's big and it's heavy. And I did all of this work and I don't want it to stretch too much while I'm hanging it up. I'm gonna have to wash it. I'm gonna have to block it. I'm scared to steam block it. I feel like if I steam block it, it's gonna get too drapey, and I don't want to lose like the stitch definition that I have here because I feel like I did a really, really good job of keeping it pretty tight across the board. So I think I'm just gonna wash it, and I know there's some people who are like, washing acrylic yarn doesn't really do anything to block it out. I disagree. I think it does a little something. I'm not saying it does as much as like steam blocking does, obviously. But I think washing it in hot water and letting it dry blocked out can help even out the stitches quite a bit. And that's really all I'm looking to do. And then I'm gonna have to figure out what the heck people do for tapestries this big when it comes to backing. Like, I see a lot of people use felt as the background, but like, I feel like that's not really gonna work for this because I'm gonna need to get a lot of felt and it won't all be connected. Maybe I get a big piece of felt fabric. Maybe I can thrift a blanket. Maybe I have some thrifted blankets. Should I bring them in the move or are they still at home? Oh my god, questions, questions. I don't know. I probably have to focus on finishing this first. So I really just have the bottom lip and the chin to do, and then there's like I would call it maybe 5 or 6 rows of teal at the very bottom, which I can absolutely flash through. I'm not gonna like delay my plans tonight for finishing the tapestry. And I don't really know how long set plans are gonna take. It's a sneaky link. Can we be honest with each other? It's a sneaky link. I don't really know where the night's taking us. But yeah, I really want to see how much more of this I can get done. But also, I do need to shower and bring Bobo out again at some point. And also eat some dinner before I go anywhere. So hopefully, I get at least like I don't know 5 more rows. It'd be cool if I could get like the bottom lip done, and then it would just be like the chin and the teal powder. I'm so proud of this though. There were so many times where I really was like, this is never gonna get done, and even if it does, it's gonna look like shit. And you know what? It looks fabulous. Okay, so the tapestry is finally done. Finally, 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 after all that frogging back, after having to restart the entire project, I totally forgot about that part. This bad boy is done, and it looks really rad. So a few things before I tell you a little bit more. I have not woven in the ends yet. There aren't a ton of ends to weave in, because I mostly carry the yarn all the way to the bottom. So there's really just these little tails down here that I need to weave in. This is what it looks like from the back. Some of my carries are really nice. Some of them not so much. Whatever. Um, I'm gonna have to put a felt backing on the back of it anyway, as I mentioned before, just because I don't want it to stretch too much over time. Even though it's acrylic yarn, it's not necessarily prone to stretching. It's just something I'm worried about because like tapestry is really really big, and it is fairly heavy. So yeah, got these tails at the end, but I can't weave them in because I don't have my little needles that I use to weave them in. I don't know where I put them. I thought they were in my like little crochet pack, but they're not in there. And so I need to go buy more at Michael's tomorrow because I refuse to weave in ends with a crochet hook. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I won't do it. It takes too much time for me. I can do it so much faster with like a weaving needle. So I'm just gonna go get one of those, or like a pack of them tomorrow at Michael's. It's late at night, but I did run a bunch of water in my bathtub with some suds, and we're gonna wash this bad boy because I've been working on this since July. I've definitely like sweat a lot on it, if I'm being super honest with you guys, because it's acrylic yarn, and I was working with it in the summertime. And it still really hasn't cooled down here. So I'm gonna go pop this into the bathtub to soak and wash and clean up, and then I'm going to hang it up to dry and make the stitches a little bit more even. And then tomorrow we're going to weave in the ends. But let me show you guys the finished tapestry in all of its glory. I'm going to try to fit it all in screen, but I got to be on my tippy toes, and I really got to back up. Yeah, I'm pretty sick. I'm pretty good. I am quite happy with it. I think it turned out really, really rad. Um, Despite the fact that it was kind of a pain in the butt and it took me this long, I almost immediately want to do another Tom of Finland scene. Probably one a little bit more like leather related or graphic, just because again, this is like probably the most PG Tom of Finland image on like in all of his work. Maybe not in all of his work. I haven't seen all of it extensively, but I've seen a lot of it. And I want to do another scene. I want to do another scene. I think they're really cool, and I do have some leftover yarn. I'm gonna show you guys the leftover yarn tomorrow. Once I check in after this bad boy is washed. Alrighty, fiber friends. The project is washed. It's dried. The ends are not woven in yet. You guys are really just gonna have to ignore that because I have not had the time to actually get the needles that I need. Because my parents, I don't know if I mentioned this, my parents are also coming into town this weekend. I didn't plan it that way. It was an honest mistake. I did not mean for leather weekend to line up with when my parents were coming to visit me. But that's just how it goes. That's just that's life. It's whatever. I still want them to visit me. We're gonna go out to eat and all that stuff. But I have just been busy trying to like clean my apartment, like deep clean, like wipe down the baseboards, kind of deep clean. And just parent proof my apartment in general. You guys know how it goes. But I wanted to show you guys the tapestry because I do think it looks a little bit more even now and the way it should. Now that it's kind of like roughly blocked out, I can see a few mistakes that I made. And I knew they were gonna be there. I think I am gonna clean it up with a little bit of excess yarn. Because I've seen people do that before. Like I've heard a lot of people taking extra yarn and like they'll go around the edges of certain colors and areas to like make it more defined and stuff like that. And so I'm thinking I can use like a technique like that to just clean up those spots so that my mistakes look a little bit less obvious. I'm okay with there being mistakes because I mean, this is mine. Like, I'm not really intending to sell this piece. It's for me. I want to make decor for my apartment. So, yeah, it's okay. There are some mistakes, and I think with a little cleaning up, it'll look real good. Obviously, again, the project is not completely finished either because I need to put a backing on it. But I honestly think that's gonna have to be a whole other podcast episode because I feel like this episode has already been pretty long. I haven't edited the footage yet, but I have a hunch. Okay, so I'm standing on my tippy toes and I just still can't really, there we go, keep it all in frame. Yeah, I mean, it's a traditional Leatherman. Like, it's giving 1980s cruising. Obviously I hadn't seen cruising before making this tapestry, but I do think that movie ended up being very on theme for making this tapestry. And again, it's a leather weekend here in Rehoboth. I'm probably going to see a lot of gear and outfits that look very similar to this. On Saturday, it's like the Mr. Leather competition. Yeah, this is the biggest tapestry I've ever made. It's not the Actually, now that I think about it, it might be one of the biggest projects I've ever made, right? Because like I made a blanket not that long ago, and it's really really big, but I did it with a waffle stitch. Yeah, I think it's the waffle stitch, um, which uses a lot of like double crochets, which is just like a bigger stitch. It works up faster. This is all single crochets. And honestly, okay, like I feel like from a distance, if you don't look up close, you really can't even notice where the mistakes are. And the worst part is the mistakes are all mostly earlier on. If I look at it this way, I feel like I can point some of them out if I look really closely. When it was lie down on the bed, I had it drying on my bed with a white background, and I could kind of see some of the mistakes a little bit more. They're kind of up in this area where it was just like the most difficult and the color changes were the craziest. This is what it looks like from the back right now. Honestly, some of my carries are really nasty. I totally understand that. But also, some of them are not. A lot of them aren't. And this was just a really crazy. This was a crazy piece to do. I mean, it really was. Looking at it now, I'm kind of flabbergasted that I got it done. Oh, but it looks so good. Oh, it looks sick as hell. Oh my god. Okay. All right. I was kind of when I finished it, I kind of had this like depresso feeling. I think because like finishing any big project, I get like a really big drop. I don't know about you guys. Because it's kind of like I have this routine of like always having something to come back and work on and kind of like think about in the back of my brain. And then all of a sudden, I didn't have that to work on. I have no crochet projects going right now, which is, I don't know, it's leaving a gap in my heart. I feel like I need to start something else. Probably another tapestry project, if I'm being honest. I've lined up some yarn already in my room for that. But again, different episode. We're going to talk about that later. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way this came out. I don't think I've let myself feel that level of excitement about it yet. So yeah, I think that's gonna be all for today. I'm really gonna try to just like cut it short because I know I'm gonna have to edit down a lot of footage. Um, Tell me if you guys like this episode. This was kind of a weird one. I don't know. I watched some movies. I talked to you about some movies. I don't know if you guys had any interest in that whatsoever. This kind of art I don't often see represented, or I don't really see in a lot of like crochet projects around me, or at least not from a lot of artists that like I'm aware of. So if you guys know anyone who has like this kind of style of crochet or like does this flavor of work, tell me about them in the comments because I would love to follow them. I think that's going to be all for today. I do have work today, but then tomorrow I have plans and then my parents are going to be in town. So I don't know the next time I'm going to see you guys, but I do think the next episode I'm going to do is going to be a whip check for crochet. So whatever I like cast on, and then for spinning, because I have been spinning a lot again. I've been trying to like spin every night when I come home from work, just like 10-15 minutes, whatever I can dedicate to it. But that does mean I have been making some yarn, which is really cool. I finished some yarn recently that turned out absolutely spectacular. And then I also have some new stuff on the wheel that I want to show you guys. But again, that'll be for next episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.